You're live.
Thank you. Welcome everybody to Lagoon City Parks and Waterways meeting on Thursday, March 14th. I see everybody's here, so we'll start right away. The opening of the meeting, I don't know if you're going to play that recorded message or whether or not we need to. Jacob?
Ashley, do you have the recording available? That's okay. I'll just read it off. So today's meeting is being streamed live on the Township of Ramara YouTube channel. Be advised that by attending a public meeting of the commission, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded and will form part of the record. The chair, CAO, or secretary of the commission have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming in exceptional circumstances where the content of the debate is considered inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in unacceptable behavior or comments. Back to you, Cal.
Thank you, Jacob. We'll start right into adoption of the agenda and our agenda additions. Let me put on the floor for me. Let me see, Deputy Mayor, second by the Councillor Bell. I guess there's no discussion? No discussion? All in favor? That's passed. The adoption of minutes, 3.1. The minutes dated February 8, 2024, Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission. The recommendations of Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission rules dated February 2024 be adopted as presented. Somebody put on the floor for me, please. We'll put Commissioner Shoesmith, second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? No? All in favor? That's passed. I don't think we have a closed session. Okay, the recommendation.
So the closed session, if necessary, if anybody has amendments to the minutes from the closed session meeting last time, or anybody would like to discuss anything, we would have to go into closed session. So we'll put that on the floor and go from there.
Okay. Does anybody have any discussion that we have to go into closed session? No? A recommendation of the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission minutes dated February 8, 2024 be adopted as presented. Somebody put on the floor. Councillor Bell, second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion? No? All in favor? That's passed. Does anybody have disclosure of pecuniary interest? No, and I always say that if you realize you have it, just bring it forward during the meeting. Open forum for regarding agenda items only. I didn't hear there was anything. No.
No, I don't have any open forum items.
Okay, thank you. Presentations receiving petitions and deputations. I don't believe we have any of those either.
Also none.
Council and budgets, January 2024 budget to actual report. Recommendation of the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission receives the January 2024 budget to actual report as information. I've got it on the floor. Deputy Mayor, second by the Councillor Bell. Any discussion on that? The only thing I have is 2023 looked pretty good. It looked like we hit pretty well what we figured we were going to hit last year when I really started looking at the numbers there. Not 2024, but 2023, you could take a look at it and see it. So that wasn't too bad. All in favor? Oh, sorry. Did you have something to say, Council?
I do. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Through the chair to Jacob. I know, Jacob, I emailed you because I don't know what I read the first time. So crazy question. But we typically were receiving budgets to actuals for the previous month. So right now, and then we had missed December, which is okay because it's caught up in January. But right now, then we don't have February, and I guess we didn't have any accounts vouchers between January 11th and today, or you'd have them there. But I guess I'm just saying if we're changing the process, that's okay. But it's good when we have it every month, because one of the biggest questions we get from residents on LCPWC is that whole budget piece. So typically I just drive people back to those budgets to actuals every month, and then I can show them. So I'm just wondering, are we going to be receiving them monthly, or is there a process change around it?
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Bell, I've been working with Steve, our new deputy treasurer, to try to get those budget to actuals for the commission. I know that I think it was discussed that we were either going to present them 1 month in arrears or 2 months in arrears. So I think it maybe just is a busy time for the finance department right now, and that they haven't been able to provide us with a February one just yet. But that will for sure be on the next agenda in April.
Okay.
As for the accounts vouchers, I was taking a look at some of the invoices that I was receiving over January and February, and mainly I was just receiving standard invoicing and billing, such as Hydro One charges, some garbage collection charges. I think there's some dumpsters in Lagoon City that get taken care of by a waste management company. So I didn't really think that that needed to go to the commission, since they were very nominal and minimal bills of like $10 and $15. And then obviously all of our big expenses would be approved through resolution and motion. So taxpayers and levy payers can obviously review the motions if they have concerns about big purchases and such. So I think accounts vouchers going forward, if there's a very heavy month with a lot of big purchases, say in the summer months, we can present that to the commission on an agenda. However, I think if they're very small, then they likely won't make it to an agenda, if that makes sense.
How small then? Like, what's the decision? How small is it going to be? Because I'm okay seeing the hydro costs, because I know we're buying all this new equipment, so it doesn't, bring you up to speed. And just even to glance through it and take a look at it. I understand if it's a $15 standby charge on hydro or something, that we don't need to see that. But there's things I'd like to see, and I think it would help the commission too to see the dumpsters being picked up. Like, what dumpster is it? Why we've got the dumpster? Is it time to change the way we're handling the dumpsters, right? So we just don't that it turns into something that just happens all the time.
Sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry if I just was going to follow up. Yeah, and I think.
Sorry, let him just finish. Let him answer my questions, okay?
Yeah, no, I can flag that now that I know that you guys are interested in seeing that. I can discuss that with our finance department to get that information for you.
Okay. Councilor, you go first, then Deputy Mayor had a question too.
Yeah, sorry, Cal. I didn't think you had a question. I thought I didn't hear a question. I just heard a comment, so I apologize. I guess I was just going to say, though, that there are still questions that we have about a number of items. So, for example, why would Lagoon City's levy payers pay for navigation lights to bring people off of the lake and into the main channel? So there's things around what we're being charged for that we want to be able to see. So I do want to see all of the accounts vouchers that come through, because I still have questions that I'm trying to kind of formulate and get a better understanding of what we're charging levy payers for versus what I don't think we should be charging levy payers for. So the spit, for example, is owned by the Township of Ramara, and it's under their purview. So I can't imagine a world where these people who live in Lagoon City have been paying for navigation lights since 1986, I guess. So I do have questions. So that being said, I would want to continue to see the vouchers so that I can have a kind of global view over these last few years of what we're paying for and why. So I definitely want to see it continuing.
Okay, noted.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but it's the vouchers. I think it'd be a procedural thing too, Jacob. I think we'd have to actually pass that if we're going to make a change from previous what we're doing for vouchers and reviewing them.
Through the chair to Deputy Mayor Bell. So I haven't been able to find anything resolution wise that kind of stated that we would be attaching these vouchers on an agenda. So yes, I think if we are moving forward formally with this item, you would be correct. We should probably at least pass something so that it's communicated.
Good, but I would like to, so thank you.
You broke up a little bit there, Deputy Mayor, right at the end.
Oh, I just said I concur. I'd like to see the vouchers as well. I think just for the amount of time it takes just to run through them real quick, it's worth seeing.
I agree too. I'm not sure how the rest of the commission feels, but I think the more information you have, the better you can do your job. So should we put a motion forward now to make sure that we get that, or like?
Yeah, I would at least put a motion that it be a recurring agenda item on a monthly basis to provide the commission with accounts vouchers.
So that motion come from the councillor, second by the deputy mayor.
And one sec.
He's
I
putting
can,
it-
no, I don't want to put it on yet. I want the motion should actually include the budgets to actuals as well, because you're exactly right, Jacob. We don't have a lot of our processes captured. So this actually would be both pieces. Then it would be the budgets to actuals plus the vouchers would be the motion, I think, because we never had a motion for that in the first place either. So if we could just modify the motion.
So the motion would be modified to read that the commission set up a recurring agenda item on a monthly basis to provide for staff to provide a budget to actual report and accounts vouchers. Now, is that all right to be 1 month in arrears? So if today was our March meeting, you guys would be receiving all of the January items. Next meeting in April, you're receiving all of the February items, just because there is some time to process all of that stuff. Is that all right?
For me, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the best you can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll put the
Sounds
motion on
good.
the floor.
So the motion that Jacob just read is the motion that you're putting on the floor?
Yes. And Jacob, you'll include that 2-month time period too, then we may as well have it all included in the motion.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll put that on the floor.
Okay. You're okay to second that, Deputy Mayor? Okay. I guess we've discussed that. So now I've got 2 motions on the floor. The first one I had, the second one, right? So let's vote on the motion we just had now about getting our actuals. All in favor? That's passed. Is there any more discussion on the budget to actual report? No. All in favor? That's passed. We accepted that. Items of information. The North Suspension Footbridge Rehabilitation Project, the document. The recommendation is that the Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission receive the North Footbridge Rehabilitation Project update as information. Put on the floor for me. Commissioner Shoesmith, second by Commissioner Mason. Did you want to say anything before we talk about it? Josh?
No, I don't really have anything. We just wanted to bring the tender to you guys for a quick review. I know that was one of the things we've discussed before. All tenders come to you guys for review before they get posted. So this is bringing that to you guys. If you had any questions or concerns with the tender, we've updated the dates to fit bringing the tender to the meeting. And then we can get the tender out as soon as we get through today. So.
Thanks,
So,
Josh.
Yeah, Amir's here. I believe Edwin is with EXP as well. So if there's any technical questions with the tender, Amir or Edwin can for sure answer those. So
Could one of them just speak first then, just to give us an over?
Hi everyone, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. And what was your name? Sorry.
Amir.
Amir.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so I just said we haven't changed that much since the meeting we had with the township in September. So the tender, we just updated the dates. It's still the cost estimate and everything is the same. Like any questions or any concerns, I can answer it. And other than that, I think everything is have been finalized and it's ready to be advertised.
Okay.
I know in the email that just sent that he said that you guys would like us to have to do some inspections for the shore walls and neighboring areas, but we haven't defined the scope for this one yet. But
Okay. I did see one question for you, Councillor.
Thank you. That was one of my questions, was the inspection piece, but I wasn't sure if you'd had an opportunity yet, Josh, to even do that. So that's okay. I understand that'll be coming. But my question actually is, I'm looking at all of the components. So I see mobilization and demobilization all the way through to contingency allowance. But what I don't see, and it could be in the contingency, What I don't see is if we do have to do the same treatment to the north that we did to the south, as far as the anchor points and needing cables replaced. I don't see that there. And I know that you ended up sending us a memo after the tender report the last time. So I just want to understand, where is that captured?
Yeah, so the supply and installation of cables. So that's one item that I was going to send it to Josh today. So that item will be added. So we have that, and we're just preparing the specs for it, and that's going to be added to the tender. So that's the only item. Yeah, but we have it there, and we have the price for it in the memo, and that's going to be reflected on the latest tender.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay. I did look at it, and I'm not an engineer, but it's quite complicated, really, all the things that will be happening. So I'll leave it in your capable hands, engineers. So no more questions. All in favor? That's passed. Thank you, guys. Amir, and I didn't catch your name because I see your face.
Edwin.
Edwin. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a good one, guys.
You too. Take care.
Okay, bye.
The next one is Weeds Be Gone. Let's see. Put it on a Weeds Be Gone system expansion quote. Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission Weeds Be Gone quote. Recommendation is that. I guess I shouldn't even put it on the floor. We should discuss it, then I'll put the recommendation. We've got Nick DeMarco here now. I was talking to him yesterday over some other issues, and I'd asked him to come today. So to talk about it, because I have a number of questions about it, Nick.
Sure, we're ready for you.
Did you want to do an overview first?
Sure. So yeah, we got the design ready. What the design is about is utilizing the extra capability of the Turtle Bay systems. So they are both the existing systems. They're both running at max or half capacity at the moment. So what we have done is we tried to utilize the rest of the air nipples on that manifold. So we've done that, and it did take up quite a bit of airline, but Joe and I seem to think this should be a good way of doing it. Do you guys have any questions about the proposed system?
I have a number of questions, actually, if you guys want me to go first.
Yeah, you know what, you go first, and then I can kind of relate back from what you guys have to ask.
Well, the first one that I look at, and we'll start with the first, I guess, system that you're talking of hooking up. It's one that's heading towards the I guess it's the first picture that you see, and I think there's what one, two, three, four, maybe 12 diffusers on it. My question is, when we come out to the very end of it, we're going to the left. I question whether or not we should be going to the right and wrapping around in the bay, because that's what we talked about before. And I'm just
hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, good. So you know what? This was the area I talked with Josh, and Josh said these were the areas that we were looking at covering.
Right.
So it was just a design that my dad and I had put together, going down that canal. You're saying, right, parallel to the one that we had just done.
Well, what you're doing is, as you come out to the entrance, you're making a left turn, where I think you should make a right turn, and you've got to extend it further down.
Is he talking about?
If you look at your picture.
Oh, I see.
He's talking about this one.
Yeah. So the one that
this one here goes this way.
the one that the last diffuser ends closest to Pike Lagoon. Is that the one you're talking about?
That one, yeah. I want to change that.
Okay.
Okay, that's not a problem. So what are you thinking? Going under the bridge that way with it?
No, there's no bridge. When you
I got you up at the top, going to the right with that diffuser.
What I want you to do is wrap around and see that bay to your right.
I do, yes.
Into that bay. That's where we want to end up, in there.
Opposed to in front of the hotel. Yeah, that's a non-issue. We could actually just move that around the other way, just a little bit more airline going that way. So the way that we have this run to save on airline is because that compressor has so much power. We were actually going to tee off a couple of these like we did before with 9-inch diffusers, because with the 9-inch diffuser, it takes a little bit less airflow that you need. So we were going to go and run a couple tee-offs in that area. So from what we can do is have the diffuser there and then tee off in and around the bay there.
Well, yeah, what I'd like to actually see, because when I looked at this line it's a lot shorter than the other line that we're going to get to and talk about it. I'd rather go to the right and break and bring it down and go into the bay. And if we can go a little bit further, go further down to the right. Just
Right.
Okay.
keep
Cal,
it
you know
close
what
to the
too we
shore.
can do? We might be able to, how you doing, Cal?
I'm doing
It's
great.
Joe.
How you doing? Long time no
Good,
see.
good to see you.
Yeah, turn it.
Yeah, so the other thing we possibly can do is we might be able to utilize that compressor under the bridge at Pike and come out that way and utilize, we might be able to pull that off. But in the meantime, yeah, we can definitely move that diffuser going the other way.
Yeah. So the amount of airline we're talking coming from the manifold at Turtle Bay, me and my father were talking yesterday about utilizing that compressor over there, because I think the one compressor only had, it's a 2 horsepower compressor and a 1 horse, and the 1 horse only has 3 diffusers on it. I think we can probably get 2 or maybe 2 more diffusers off that if we switch the manifold under the bridge.
Well, I don't think we need to worry so much about the one under the bridge, because the one under the bridge, that's a discussion for later, because those pumps aren't very good and we're going to have to replace them one day to the better pumps.
I understand.
Right. But what I'm talking about is this one right now to finish it off.
Yeah.
And those smaller pumps up there, that's something we might use for the future to run out towards or whatever. But right now, let's utilize this one and bring it around, and then we can talk about the other ones. Because the other ones, eventually, I think we're gonna have to spend the money and put on a claw.
The rotary claw. Yeah, they're very low maintenance and they're less louder noise that comes away.
Right, that's for another discussion. That's for another.
Okay,
discussion.
no problem. So we can redesign that for you guys, no problem. What we'll do after the meeting is we'll go through, we'll do a redesign on it, we'll add up some more airline, and we can relook at some of this stuff.
Yeah, and give us an idea how far you can go. I can see Councillor Bell has a question.
Sure, go ahead.
It's not really a question. And no pun intended, but before we get too far into the weeds, we didn't budget $60,000 for this year. So
okay,
that's my concern, is just out of the gate, we budgeted $15,000 because we have the bridge and all those things happening in 24. So we had done a limited budget for this year where we were just going to add a few diffusers. And my understanding was that those were going to get added on the inner part of Turtle. But I could be wrong on that. That's neither here nor there at the moment. But yeah, we only had a $15,000 budget. Now, that being said, we also did budget for solutions for the water movers over in Gondola, and that was just like a contingency budget because we're waiting for the noise emissions reports I can't talk this morning. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Reports to come back. So I just want to get some clarification, because I'm certainly not against doing a larger expansion if we have it in the budget, but and this would still work over a 2-year implementation or whatever if that was necessary. But I just want to clarify that, because I believe we only have 15,000.
But I think what we can do is we can finish this, so at least we know what our next steps are and what our costs will be, right?
Right. Yeah, it was just a drawing that we made up. I know they said they were looking at expanding the systems over the years, so we just went ahead and gave you a proposal for something to look at, even if you budget for next year or the year after, if that's the rate you want to go.
Let me throw something at you guys. And I know my colleague in the US, this is what they're doing. A lot of the governments, they're aerating everything now. Like, we're going to have some big problems here. This year's going to be real bad. But what he does, he leases it to the communities, right? So I don't know if you guys even want to, think about it, but we might be able to do something where we can lease these systems to, and then you can buy them out, or we can maintain them. Something along those lines might be something to consider.
Okay.
So that's what they've done in the US. So he leases the equipment to them, right? And then they get a buyout. And what they've done is just raise their taxes to the cottage owners or the homeowners, and that's how they're paying for the systems, right? So then it becomes a monthly or whatever payments we can work out, right? That's a possibility, anyways.
We've never actually, I don't think Parks and Waterways has ever done that. So that'd be something we'd have to discuss and just make sure it's in our.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It was just a thought.
Okay. But anyways, let's finish this off so that we now know what we plan on doing and what our future is.
Okay.
Right? Because we've talked about this whole expansion now for quite a while. And the expansion, I think the numbers you came out with, the two of them, is 160,000, I think is what I read.
Well, yeah, you know what it was, Cal? It's all the airline that we're using because we're trying to utilize those nipples. So sometimes it might even be cheaper to, even have another compressor somewhere. We could do maybe 2 or 3 in a shorter span coming off of there. So tighten up some of the diffusers coming off. When you come out of the canal there on Turtle and go left, we could even tighten them up and get 2 or 3 diffusers a little tight there. And then if we had to use another compressor, maybe even halfway down that other canal, coming down towards parallel with the one we just did, we would save a ton of airline.
And the way we did it, if we had to run individual lines to every one of them, it would almost double the airline. The airline's like almost like we're paying like almost $3 a foot for this stuff.
Yeah,
it's very expensive.
So let's, when we talk to the next one, we'll talk about that. Okay.
Okay.
So let's finish this off. The fact that we want you to go to the right and go further down and price that.
I got a note made here. What we'll do is we'll redo it up. The amount of hairline won't be much different. I think the cost would stay very similar. We just detour it from going to the left over to the right into that bay. And I think it would be a simple fix.
Perfect. So follow up and send that to us on that.
We'll do.
I also talked to Josh in regards to, we had another way that might be cheaper. However, I guess we can't anchor anything to them walls, eh? Like tubing or something? No, I know. That would make a big difference, right? Because I can run 1-inch poly across, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than the sinkable air tube, and then come off of that and put it out into the middle of the.
And you split the manifold down there. Yeah. Put the air up down halfway down there.
We can't hang anything on the walls.
I don't believe you can. Josh, am I correct?
I don't think the numbers will change very much, but we'll do another drawing up for you to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. And it'd be something for you guys to look at in the future if you guys can budget for it.
Unless you want to assume the walls, no.
Hold on, I can't quite hear you there, Josh.
No, I'm just talking to the commission. Unless they want to assume the shore walls, they're not township, they're not owned by the township nor the commission. Unless you guys want to assume the shore walls, we can't hang anything off of them.
Yeah, no problem. We'll have to just do it this way. That's all.
Okay. So, Counselor.
Thank you. So I just want to get clarity on why we brought the report today with. So I just because I need to understand what we left the recommendation empty. So that indicates to me that somebody's looking for some kind of direction. Otherwise, it would just say that we receive as information. So I just want to get clarity. Like, is Josh, are you looking for us to make a decision today so that you can work with Weeds Be Gone to get an implementation in the fall, as we've realized is our best process for doing this work is after the boating season is complete? Because if that's the case, we would maybe potentially be able to do this in the fall, because if we don't, depending on what our solution is for Gondola Lagoon, we could reallocate the funds that we had budgeted, right? So I guess I just want to know, why is the recommendation blank? Because my question is, were you asking for some direction today?
No, I wasn't. So basically, it was just as information. I know we only had budgeted the 15,000. I went to Nick and Joe kind of with what the idea was. Possibly a couple diffusers here and there. They came back with this plan. I saw it more as planning for the future, for budgeting for 2025. I know Nick and Joe has been asking if this has gone through yet. But yeah, it was just a discussion for all that. So.
Thank you. Cal, can I just redirect for a second? Thanks. So if the noise emission studies come back and we have the potential to maybe reallocate, what's the timeline? I know for you guys, Nick, it's just now it's a question of being able to order in the materials to get the work done. So how much time would we need? Like, if we get to August, would we still have time to be able to reallocate the funding and say, yeah, go for it this year? Or
we're pretty quick with our timeline. Like the airline, we can have a bunch of airline that we order every season. So, I think we actually have a bunch of airline stock. It'd be more just ordering our diffusers very quickly within a couple of weeks. After you guys give us the go ahead, we could get something over there and installed, especially because the compressors are already there up and running. It's just a small alteration to the compressor module there, because they're running at half capacity right now. So all we have to do is order an airline. It comes very quickly, a couple of weeks.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, so we still could see a different result by the end of this year, potentially.
Right.
depending on- Right. Excellent. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, so is there any other questions on that first picture with the airlines? We'll call it the, whatever, the West pump.
Yeah, I think that's what we called it. The West, Turtle Bay West Bubbler 3 system.
Okay, so everybody knows he calls it Turtle Bay because that's what it used to say quite a while ago, and they picked it up on the pictures, right? It's Turtle Lagoon, right?
Turtle Lagoon. Okay, we'll change it up.
Every time I hear Turtle Bay, I always smile. Anyways,
Turtle
go
Lagoon.
to the next picture.
Okay, we're there on my end.
So what you're doing is we've now gone to the east pump, right? And it's
That's
the same.
correct.
Now they're both the same horsepower, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, no, I thought you said it was a difference. Okay, they're both the same.
No, they're both I think I actually have it in there. Yeah, they're both 4.6 horsepowers, I believe, yeah.
Okay, so when I look at this one looks so much longer. And I question whether or not you're pushing that pump and the amount of pipe that you're using. So I see a number of issues on this, and I'll bring it up. And maybe if you take notes so that when you do the next quote, you can include what the issues are, right?
Ready?
What I see, first of all, here is when you look down, going down, I believe is that Gondola Lagoon going down? You see all the pools of water to your left. There's 1, 2, 3. Each one of those are going to need a diffuser in them.
Oh, in the little inlet. I got you. Yeah, I understand.
Now it can be because we've experimented. We used a 9-inch over in the bay over by the fountain, and it worked well from what I understand.
It did work well, yeah.
Right. Now, I guess my other question, and I'm going to I won't throw you under the bus, Bill, because I know it hasn't, or Commissioner Mason. Did you see any difference with the one we experimented in front of your place down in the other end? Where the townhouses are.
The only thing that we saw was in the spring a little bit more flotsam around the diffuser, and it seemed to prevent some of the flotsam going right into against the shore wall towards Laguna Parkway. Other than that, there really wasn't much change in the total flow around the water flow around the area, but it did seem to collect the flotsam right around the bubbler in the spring. And I had a picture of one day when there's a huge ring of flotsam around, which was preventing it from actually going over to the shore wall towards Laguna Parkway.
So I guess what we need to do is maybe include in this, Nick, is possibly running another 9-inch on the opposite side into those townhouses.
Got a 9-inch diffuser.
So you know what we can do, Cal? We can probably spread. We can get them in there. I thought about that too, right? So I was thinking if we can spread these other ones, we might. We got to check the CFMs, right? But we might be able to just spread these and spread the other ones, and then have those go in there, right? We'll have to do a calculation on the CFMs, but I think we might be able to do that and just spread these out a little further, and then be able to put one in each one of those bays.
And I want to be clear about where we're talking to right now. We're talking about the Turtle Lagoon system, or no?
This one here.
The wet on the east. Yeah, on the east one. East one.
So
1, 2, and 3.
I understand, but you were saying that we added one more. You're not talking about the one that we just added on. Remember, you just asked the gentleman there if he saw a difference in the diffuser that he had added on. Is that where you were at?
I'm not sure.
So when you just asked the gentleman if he noticed a difference when he added a diffuser on.
Okay. So
now you weren't relating. The next comment was related to this design, right?
No.
No, what happened was on your other design that you had that came from Beaver Trail, that one?
Yeah.
I know the one you're talking about, Cal.
Yeah, you ran a diffuser into the townhouses.
Right.
And to test, you put a 9-inch in there. Remember?
That's correct. Yeah, 8-inch, but yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we've got a commissioner that lives there. So we've got him watching it. So it's great to make the next decision. And I think we're going to have to plan on putting it into those townhouses area. I'm trying to think of how many there are. I believe maybe 3. one, maybe 3 spots have to go in down that area. So the question is, do we need to put another pump house up by the bridge, up near the community center, something there to head out? Because we're going to talk about something else in a minute after that too.
I think ideally we are stretching it pretty big. If we could get another compressor, we'll save a lot on airline. The pumps won't have to work as hard. It would definitely be a better approach at it. And what we were doing is we were trying to utilize what we had left on that compressor. We are stretching it. So even if we did come back a little shorter, put a couple into these canals, and then if we put another compressor, and we might be able to expand the system a little bit longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if we go with a 1 horsepower even in there,
He doesn't like those compressors.
I know he doesn't like
Yeah.
them.
So
none of those.
Okay.
yeah. So we talked about that last night. So if we could get a rotary claw somewhere in the middle base, in the middle of that whole channel, would be saving a ton on airline, and the compressor wouldn't have to work nearly as hard.
Okay, so now I'm going to bring this up, and this will be the discussion. We have the other pump that's just off to the right of the right turn that you make there. And I know we oversized that pump to get some more diffusers out of there. And it's just over to the side, across from where Keggers used to be, on the other side of the road.
That's the new compressor that we just installed, correct?
Right. And how many diffusers can you take off of that now?
So there's already 9. The manifold's designed for 9, but I was talking with Joe, and there's opportunity to maybe add a couple more nipples to that. If we take the manifold can be modified if we need to. So what we wanted to
okay, but it would be no good to come out and go left, because the problem that we have there is the sailboats taking our pipes.
I understand. I know we talked about that as well. So we don't want them coming through and around the marina area, because if they're dragging the bottom, they will start dragging the lines, right?
Well, this line, this system that you've got is going right through the area where the sailboats come in and out.
So what we were saying was if you could hug the wall coming around the corner, like what way did they go out to the lake, right? They're going to come out and hang a right. Is that correct normally?
Well, they back out right where your pipe is.
Yeah, so if we hug the wall coming around, right, tight to the wall, I think we could eliminate them doing that. And and if we had to bring the diffuser down closer to the bridge, maybe, I think we could get away from them dragging them on the bottom. What do you think?
Well, the problem with that is that we've tried that before, and it ended up the residents were lifting the pipe right out. Their boats were catching it when it was that close to the wall.
When it was on the wall.
And if I remember correctly, the sailboats use that wall when they have to regattas and everything. I think that owns that property. I think they had a sailboat at one time, but they allow the sailboats to park there.
So if we did do it with a compressor in the middle, we could actually put the diffuser a little bit farther back. And if we had to, we could probably bring one diffuser from the other system and just put it in the channel on the far wall there if we had to. It would be something we'd have to have a better look at when the boats are in the water and when we're on site. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the pump that you're using that comes out there where you're showing the diffuser, we already have 2 diffusers there. And that was when we first found out the sailboats were catching it, because the diffuser kept getting moved around.
Right.
So
now that's on the other side of the wall there. You're saying on the other side of this bridge, right where the Keggers restaurant is?
You make your left-hand turn, there's already a diffuser there.
Okay, hey, Cal, you know what we should do here is me and Nick come up, and you and Josh.
We'll have another look
for a boat ride in a pontoon boat or something, and let's go and have a look exactly what we're talking about, and we can redesign everything, and we'll take it from there. I think I
want the commission though to see this so that they can see what we're talking about.
Okay. I understand.
Okay.
I think Josh has got something he wants to say.
Yeah, like this system here that's being designed, it's coming off the Turtle Lagoon pump, correct?
That's right.
And then the idea from the other one on Gondola, the one that was just put in last fall, that one we were talking about bringing up towards the marina and then could fill out into the bay there that way. Because we have extra room on that one.
I do remember chatting about that.
Yeah.
And I know we did put 2 diffusers up in that river, which had very minimal water in it.
Mm-hmm.
Look, that was the next thing I was going to talk about, because that's the same problem dealing with the sailboats, right? Because what we're going to do is bring the diffusers from there and put them up into 100 Laguna Parkway with like in that
Yes.
area, right?
Yeah,
That's-
and we
that's
were
what I was
basically
thinking.
gonna
If we
hug
don't-
we were gonna hug essentially the shore wall on the east side going through there. That way it's out of the center of the channel. And
Right.
it's out of the way of the sailboats, the keels.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. You come out under the bridge, hug the wall on the side, and then if you got to just shoot out and even put one, so it doesn't always have to go in the middle either, as long as there's dissolved oxygen in the water. We could even put one, you know, a foot or two off of the wall. It wouldn't look as synchronized, but as long as you got oxygenated water there, the treatments will still do what they have to do. So even if you had to come and put just a couple feet off the wall, and if we find those two diffusers aren't working well in that canal, because the water is there's next to no water in that area. I think what may happen is we start bubbling up some of the muck. It might create turbidity through the water, so we'd have to kind of check it. But there are two diffusers up that channel that we can maybe utilize and go the other way.
well, we still
now-
have the manifolds off that compressor as well. I don't think that compressor was filled out, so
It wasn't what? Sorry.
I don't think you guys used all the nipples on that compressor. I think there was still some spares on that.
On the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was 9 if I remember correctly, but I know there is a way we can get a few more off it if we need to. It would be nice to have it running to see how all of our bubblers are working on that initial one before we start adding or anything as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So now is what the next step I was trying to get to now, because we're going to talk about the next step is if we took off some piping and some diffusers and ran them up towards 100 from that and ran it as a test, we probably could keep it in budget to do a test that way to see whether or not we could hug along that shore and whether or not the sailboats would take out our pipes. And
See if it's an issue or not.
So we wouldn't be spending all the money on this one where it may blow up in our face and we'll have to redesign it and run another pump house in that area.
Okay, yeah. And you know what? We could take 2 from the river there because what happened was, Cal, is we went down and then we put 2 up to the left. You know where you have the boom and all that stuff coming
I think
in
it's
from
a great idea that you did that. I think it's a good idea.
And I did put 2 up there, but they could be pulled back and brought the other way and put back if that's a route we have to do. Just to test it, if that's what we want to do. So even when I come up next, I'm going to be bringing up all the treatment. We'll be doing the Winter Warrior with our sonar scans. I think me and Josh can even go out for a little drive on the boat or even around in his truck. Come up with a plan. If you want to join, Cal, you're more than welcome. Or if anyone wants to join us in the meeting, come up with a good game plan and try some trial and error stuff with you guys.
Okay. So one of the things, like I think we might try then, and I know the counselor had brought up about the budget and that we do have 15,000 in. So if we took a look, maybe trying to bring the pipes around, just like what we've done down at the other end, bring them up and we'll see whether or not they last.
See if they have an issue. Yeah, exactly. And even if they do get snagged once in a while, you know, they're pretty easy to fix. But if you put them off to the side, like I said, if it's not in the middle, I don't see there being any issue with any boats grabbing it. It just wouldn't
No,
aesthetically look the same.
The only concern with going close to the shore wall is eroding the shore wall.
Erosion. Yeah. I was thinking about that as well.
Yeah.
What, the pipe would erode the shore wall?
No.
The
If we
bubblers,
put
the moving water.
We're not going to put a bubbler on the shore wall, though. What we're going to do?
No. But Nick was saying a foot away.
I was
from the
mentioning
shore
it.
wall.
You can have it
I'd
closer
rather
to the
be
wall
6 to
so the boat
8
could
feet
go
away.
around.
I agree 100% with you, Josh. What I was talking about to run this test is to run it along that shore wall that leads into 100 and then run a diffuser in the one I guess sort of inlet that they've got, and then on the other side put one in there too, where we did the takeoff area. Okay, I've got a bunch of questions now. Let's start with Commissioner Mason, then we'll do the Councillor Bill.
Just thinking about possibly coming down the shore wall right alongside where the yacht club is. So you come under the bridge and you stay very close to the shore wall, right near the yacht club, and then you tee off from that hose down the finger dock and take a bubbler out at the end of the finger dock, underneath the finger dock. So your hose would be close to the wall where the keel would never reach. And then the hose would be teed off underneath the finger dock, which would get your bubbler out at the end of the finger dock. And again, the hulls, the keels would never catch the hose down there. So you could run it down the wall, tee it off under a couple of finger docks and take it out that way and get more movement out towards the center without giving any risk of having the sailboats catch the hose.
I like it. I think that would be possible for us. I think if we can make notes of everything that we want to do when we come on site, Joe and I will come together. We can go over all the options. We can make some notes on site, and we'll go up and do some drawings and come up with some calculations on what we can do.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing. We come up there and let's go over everything, and then we know, apples to apples. That's what we need to do. We'll come up there, meet with you guys, and we'll see exactly what we want to do here. Get the right team together.
This is a good thing we're going over all this now, so everybody can see what we have now, what we're up against. So like Hal was saying, we'll finish going through all this here on the meeting, and maybe we can chat after and make some more detailed notes on what we want to do.
Councilor Bell?
Thank you. I'm going to go back to the budget again, because now we're talking about adding other things within this $15,000. And I just want to remind everybody that part of what we budgeted for was a test of the nutrient sponges, and we were going to place those in Gondola Lagoon to see whether we had any success. So that's part of that 15,000. So I keep hearing we're adding all these things, and it's good. Like, it's a good discussion, and we do need to kind of circle all these pieces together so that we can get a good grasp on how we're going to do those changes out in that area. But we don't have it in the budget to do any of these things or a test or anything else this year, because we've kind of already earmarked that budget. So it's good to architect the plan moving forward, but I just don't want to lose sight of what that 15,000 was for. So I guess that takes me to where are we with those nutrient sponges, Nick? All right.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I was going to bring that up as well. So that now yes, I understand what you're saying. So moving forward with the treatments, so that 15,000, are we going to move forward with treatments this year?
So what he's asking is the nutrient sponges that you set this money aside for would be on the side of you guys using treatments throughout the rest of the canals. Is that correct?
No, I believe we budgeted for our regular treatments because that was approved, because you had done like a 3-year, or we had done a 2-year or something on that. Josh will probably remember that.
I believe so, yes. Okay, and then you have another go.
But the 15,000, so it's okay. The 15,000 specifically, that we budgeted for this year was a test of nutrient sponges in Gondola Lagoon, and then some amount of potentially being able to add some diffusers elsewhere. So I just want to be clear on this 15,000 that we budgeted for. A, the nutrient sponges going in for the test, and B, on top of that, how much or which diffusers can you add within $15,000?
Okay, perfect. So we'll try to work within your budget. Okay, we'll come up and we'll go for a drive in a boat. We'll figure out exactly where you want to focus on. And then another thing we're doing right now is we're going to be able to bring our prices down on the treatments. We're going to be brewing our own treatments. We've got a thing now we're working on with my buddy there in the U.S., Lake Savers USA. And we're going to brew our own treatments, bacteria and enzymes, and we'll be able to put them through the canals at a lot cheaper price. I mean, those treatments are expensive.
And also it'll be a continuous treatment. Yeah. So it's called, so we brew them on site. So it's a little pool. We're talking about maybe building a little boat. And by brewing and treating consistently throughout the whole year, it's going to be a much more effective solution than doing, just spring and fall treatments. So it's a new technology that we've been working on, but long story short, we'll save that for another date. I do have nutrient sponges in stock, but I do want to talk to my supplier on the best way to filter, to get those sponges into this wide canal. So I remember the canal very clearly and how shallow it is. So I will get back to you on what we can do for the nutrient sponges in that area. And we were talking about adding them up the left behind the buoy. Is that right?
I think that when we talked about it, we hadn't chosen necessarily a location, but we were looking to do the test somewhere in Gondola Lagoon.
Okay, good. So you know what I'm going to do after the
probably
call?
In front of the boom, but yeah.
I'm thinking behind it and in front of it, and there's also a granular we can put down on the bottom. So what's happening is it's going both ways, so we can spread it through the canals. So I just made a couple notes about the sponges there. I'm going to talk to my supplier there after we get off the phone, see what they recommend, what kind of sponges they use. Normally, what we normally have a little creek that comes through. You can put a couple of these little bags in. So we might have to design something a little bit more adaptable to, you know, the main flow of water that comes in there. Do you guys have any type of charts or data of the flow rate coming through the river or anything like that, or no?
I see Josh shaking his head no.
No. Okay, good. I didn't think so. So what we'll do is from the data we have, we'll contact them, see what they recommend, and we'll get back to you with that. And even if we wanted to add a couple diffusers off of one of these turtle lagoons, it would be, you know, even if we had maybe, you know, $7,000 to $10,000 in sponges, we could probably add a couple diffusers in some areas, you know, within the budget.
Yeah.
Right, even a couple, even just if we had 2 or something coming off, and I can tee off, so I know there are, like you said, Cal, where the first one is already, there is already a diffuser there. Even if we had to just tee off of the existing diffuser and add 1 or 2 down that way, you know, we can stay within the budget of the $15,000 just to add a few. We just kind of wanted to expand that system as much as we could, trying to maximize that pump. But like you're saying, you know, if there's only a little bit of money in the budget there, we can do 1 or 2 with tee-offs in a couple areas, and also maybe do the trial of taking the diffusers from up the canal and putting them down in front of the sail marina there too.
Right. I was just trying to plan ahead. That's all.
Yeah. So are we. That's why we did the drawing this way.
We know what the costs are and everything. Yeah.
So you know what, guys, what I think is the best thing here is we'll get those, if you guys get those systems up and running, and we'll come up and we'll, like, maybe the next 3 weeks before we get busy, and we'll go over everything, and we'll take it from there. We're here to help you guys as well. We'll expand as much as we can with diffusers, with our treatments, and with the sponges and stuff. And I think that's the best thing. We get in the boat, we go for a ride, and that way we're hands on there.
Yep.
Your hand up, but I see Jacob here and I see Josh. Did you guys want to say something? Normally when I see your faces show, you'd like to speak.
Go ahead, Josh.
Josh's face just disappeared.
I have nothing. No, sorry.
No, it's okay. Do you have anything, Jacob?
Yeah, so procedurally, what I'm gathering from this is that we're leaning in the direction of receiving this as information, and that staff is going to be circling back on this item. And corresponding with Weeds Be Gone. So yeah, I just wanted to streamline the direction on this and keep carrying on with the meeting if that's what the commission wishes.
I agree with what you said. The counselor wants to talk about the sponges, right? That's what your hands
No,
are.
I did just think the motion needs to be more specific than that, because what we were looking for was how is the $15,000 going to be spent? So this proposal is the longer term, and I understand that. But what we need to be able to see is a quote that says, this is how we're going to spend the $15,000 we budgeted for. And then, so we need to make sure that we get that piece coming back. And Nick, I understand it's a great idea to come up and take a tour through the lagoons. So I'm not even saying that we need to see that quote in at the next meeting. Obviously, you need time to come up and do that, but I would probably want to see that proper quote come in so that we know where we're spending our budget. We need to be able to show.
I understand that. I can work on something for you right away.
That's why we need. What I'd like to know is exactly where we want to focus on those diffusers, right? Where we want to put them, right? And then we'll see what we can do. How many diffusers we can do, and then work on spend that 15 grand the best way we can for you guys, right?
Yeah, I got a pretty good idea of what we need here. What I'm going to do is I'll figure out what the sponges are going to cost, what we are capable of doing. I think we had a good chat on where the diffusers are that we're looking at doing. That will be within our budget. So we'll come up with something. We'll get it back to you, and then you guys can bring it up at another meeting, or we can chat with person to person later on, and we can let you guys get on with your meeting here.
So we could receive this as information.
Yep.
So currently, the motion that I have kind of drafted is that we receive the proposal as information and that staff explore options within our budget to perform this work.
Right. And also too, we would like them to, well, they're going to come up and we can go over this because it's a lot better to be there so they can actually see.
For sure. So,
sorry, it's not really explore options though. We need like an actual quote for however the 15,000 is going to be spent. So I don't know if the word terminology is explore options. Like we budgeted the 15,000 previous to this presentation coming to us. So we just need to show the residents how we intend to spend the 15,000. So it's not really options. It's a quote, right? Like it's an RFP or whatever. We need, sorry, not RFP. I can't talk, but we need to be able to show people how we intend to spend the 15,000 period. So
I'm going to draft something up for you guys, just so you guys can kind of have a look at it, with sponges and expansion of a couple diffusers. So nothing with crazy numbers like this one. We'll try and keep it within the 15,000. You guys can propose it and send it off to whoever needs to be sent off to. And I think that'll be a better way to approach this budget that you have ready for this year. And then later on, if we want to do any expansion designs, you know, it'll all just be information we'll be providing. I'll send you a good quote for what you guys are talking about. Okay. That'll give you something you can send off to them to show you where you're spending the money. And we're coming up there anyway. So there's no, we're just coming up to do the treatments and we still need to get that other system fired up, and it's all right in that area. So we're going to come do that walk around anyway. So it's not like, you know, something you need to budget for or anything. We're going to be there anyways. Josh and I talk on a regular basis. And I also talk a lot with Kevin. There was one more issue, but I will talk to Josh about that at the end of, after the meeting on another date.
Okay, just so you know, Councilor and Commission, the $15,000 came from 7 years ago, 8 years ago when we installed it, and we always planned on putting more pipe, and we'd always had it almost every year sitting there, but we've been waiting and waiting because we weren't sure whether or not, with all the shore wall issues, whether or not we're going to have to dredge there. And I guess, and I'm going to throw this out to Josh because I can't remember. Have we decided not to dredge in that area now, or is that area still slated to be dredged?
And gondola behind over by the Muse there.
No, where they're proposing to bring out the piping from those pumps coming out into those lagoons. Is there dredging going on in that area?
Yes, there is. There's a little bit going this fall, this summer, fall. We have to just figure out that date still.
We definitely have to put any of that on hold till next year anyways, right?
Yeah.
I got a quick question for you. Are you guys planning on dredging past that boom at all?
No.
Because there is zero, like there's next to no water over there. I tried to go through there in my boat, and you can't even get through. So I actually had to trek over the other side, and I actually had to put the diffusers in the center manually from shore. So a lot of the turbidity and the dirty water you're getting from is from that canal. What I was recommending, I don't know if you talked to your dredge guys, is maybe doing a settling pond before that. So what happens is the sediment settles in the pond and the water flows out to the top of it. Just something I thought of when I was there last time. But there is very, very minimal water on the other side of that boom. So what's happening is when it rains really hard, it's hitting the water, disrupting that sediment at the bottom, churning it up, and what is actually getting ejected into the canal. And then when the water settles, it settles on the bottom. That's why you're always into dredging in that back canal. So maybe like a settling pond might be a good idea. It'd be like a big hole where the water can have time to actually get the muck down at the bottom. Just something I thought I would add on, because I don't know if I'm sure you guys looked into it over there, but when I did go over, there was less than 4 to 6 inches of water there.
Yeah, okay. There is certain restrictions with the LSRCA.
I figured there would be, but I just
what we can and can't do. So
yeah, I figured there was. So, anyways, I just thought I would toss that out there. So even if those 2 diffusers don't work in that area, we can even, like I said earlier, we'll take them around and throw them over by the sail club.
So now, okay, we're finished now with that. Okay, so now what we need to do is just figure out how we're wording that recommendation, what we're doing.
So I've amended it that we receive the proposal as information and that a follow-up quote be received within the allocated budget.
Perfect.
Is that what you wanted, Councilor? I thought you wanted like to define what we're doing, right?
No, that's fine. We just need to show that how we're going to spend that 15. That's all, because we budgeted for it, right? So that's all I'm looking for.
1,000 different ways right now.
Yeah, and then I mean, what I'm saying is we know that we may potentially have some more money, and then we can work on this bigger plan, right? So I think this covers everything off, and we're heading in the right direction. Nick's going to be up here looking at all these our options, so I think we're in good shape. So that's perfect. Thank you very much, Nick and Jacob.
Excellent.
Okay, so who would like? Okay, we're finished, Nick. All right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us in. If you got any questions later, you guys all got my number, so I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick. Say hi to your dad. He's still out there. Thank him.
Later.
Thank you. Does anybody on the commission want to be involved in that? Like, because what we used to do on the commission, and we stopped doing it about 3 or 4 years ago. We used to do a tour on the boat, somebody's pontoon boat every year. And we all got together, everybody got together, including Jacob or possibly Amber, and to go out and talk about it and just, say what we see out there and we talk about it. So I don't know if you guys are interested in doing that this year. I see, Commissioner Schusman.
Actually, yes, I am. I was going to propose that question before they hung up, what their schedule would be, and if they didn't mind, observers coming along, seeing their system, the type of work they do, and just get more involved and familiar with all the equipment. So yeah, I'd be very interested in participating as much as I possibly can.
So why don't we set up something? I just saw the deputy mayor had his hand up. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the same. Depending on time, Cal, I'd definitely be interested as well.
So why don't we talk about doing something in May, maybe, and just do a tour? Not, we'd pick a different day than Thursday, than our meeting. We would do it as an extra. And it's great too, Jacob and Amber, if you guys included yourselves too, because then you can hear what we're talking about or what we're doing. Because Kathy used to come with us on the tours. Okay, so
Yeah, sounds great, Cal.
So I'll try to arrange a date then, because if I get my boat, I should have my boat in the water by May, and we can use my boat if you want. It's a pontoon boat, so okay.
Just need a mover and a seconder for that motion, Cal.
Yeah, I'll move it. And I think Amber wants to talk.
Amber wanted to say something.
Sorry, I just wanted to bring up that we were hosting the election, the by-election. So preferably not in May would be a better timeline for our department. Okay. So if you want, we can just staff can look into that further.
Well, we can do June if you want. I just threw the month out. Yeah, so June.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so the election's what, May something?
Yes, May 13th.
But that doesn't include us. That's only Ward 4, right?
Right, but our department will be quite busy. So just if you want our staff to be involved.
Oh, okay. No, I really would like you guys to be involved to see it, right? Because see what we're talking about here. Yeah, because it probably sounds really strange when we're talking about all these lagoons and different things there.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Amber.
No
Jacob, what do you want to put on the floor? Or not on the floor? What was read it one more time.
Sorry, so we still have that motion to move and get a seconder that we receive the proposal as information and that a follow-up quote be received within the allocated budget. So that was moved by Councillor Bell, and then I didn't get a seconder.
Commissioner Mason has got his hand up.
And then also,
let me finish that then. Let me get rid of it.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
All in favor? Okay, that one's done.
And then also that staff organize a tour in June. So we'll need them.
Somebody put on the floor for me. Commissioner Schusmith, second by the deputy mayor. I guess we've already discussed it. June's okay with all you guys? Yeah, everybody's okay? All in favor? That's passed. Now, wasn't there something else that you wanted? Councillor, did we pick up what you wanted in that motion?
Yep, that's all good. Thank you.
I went a little longer than I thought it was going to be. The next one is the Lagoon City Parks and Waterway Corporation and the LSRCA Research Partnership Update. Recommendations that Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission receive this update and research partnership as information. Somebody put on the floor for me. Councillor Bell, second by Commissioner Mason. Discussion, I think that would be you. Councillor, did you want to say something? Or?
I did not put that on the agenda. So when I saw it on the agenda, I thought that we were going to get an update from Zach or somebody.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just thought it was you because I know you sit on that committee. I see Jacob's got his hand up. Jacob?
So through the commission, I sat in on the meeting with the Conservation Authority, and it was a successful meeting. We were kind of laying some groundwork with Don and Rob at the Conservation Authority, and they just kind of provided us with a bit of language to kind of provide to the commission. So I'm just trying to find that here. So we discussed partnership opportunities around the assessment of the environmental conditions within the lagoons, nutrient loading, chloride from winter road management, and invasive species were kind of topics of discussion and joint interest between the commission and the Conservation Authority. So something they presented to us was the potential for case studies at Lagoon City to kind of investigate some of these issues locally, which would then lead to management and mitigation recommendations on their behalf. So the conservation is kind of committed to developing some project options and funding requirements in 2024 for our consideration. And then essentially the implementation would be in 2025 when we're able to kind of budget and plan those topics of discussion for implementation. So
any more discussion on that? Councillor?
I just want to thank you, Jacob. Amazing update, and I will get that update through conservation too as well. But I saw you put it on there, and I was like, oh yay, we get an early update. So I'm just really happy to hear that. This is something that residents have been asking for definitely since I've lived here, so likely long before that. So it seems to be timely for sure to get this moving forward. So I'm excited for where it's going to take us, and I appreciate the update. Thank you very much.
Any more questions? All in favor? That's passed. Weed spraying request for quote more information available March 12th. So I don't know. I guess we'll get more information then, or
so I can go through that. So it was kind of last minute. I apologize. We did go out to tender for the weed spraying in the canals, same as every other year. Those tenders closed Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We received 2 bids, one bid from Wagner and Corpet for a 3-year period. The total amount was $64,500 plus taxes. Second bid was from Greenstream, $60,897 over the 3-year period, which breaks down to just over about $20,000 per year. 2023, we were $20,100 per year. So the amounts are in line. There's no significant increases at all. Greenstream is the contractor that's done the past 3 years with the commission. So there's no concerns with that contractor being awarded a 3-year period again this time here. So again, I apologize. There's no report on this. We tried to get a report in, but timelines are just too tight. So,
do you need us to okay this, or you don't need us to okay this?
Yeah, because of the well, I guess it's easier if you guys approve it. With our purchasing policy, I could put it through, but it's easier if you guys do it. So, basically, the recommendation would be to award the weed spraying contract to Greenstream for a period of 3 years in the amount of $60,897 plus applicable taxes.
So let's somebody put on the floor for something we can discuss it. Deputy Mayor, second by Commissioner Mason. The only thing I'm okay with all of this so far, all of that. When they come, we're going to get somebody to be with them again to make sure they go to all the spots, right? Because since we've done that, it's really been a much better job, right?
Yeah,
so
that's the practice we've kind of started following. I think we've done it for 2-3 years now.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no change to that. So
okay, perfect. Any more discussion? All in favor? That's passed. Thank you, Josh. We're now moved to the follow-up items, online booking form for beach. Propose online. So I don't know, I could put that, I guess it's discussion then, and then we can put something on the floor what we decide, right? So did you guys read that, or did you want to run with this one, Jacob?
Yeah, so just circling back on the online booking form, I know Ashley wanted to kind of chime in as well with the booking form on the website, but I just wanted to provide you guys with a draft of it and what it would kind of look like, and then to kind of receive direction on if that looks good, if you guys want anything amended, and then we'll move forward from there. But the motion's already been carried in the last meeting, so there's no need for a motion. We just kind of wanted to provide an update on this.
Any discussion? Counselor?
I just wanted to say thank you, Jacob. It's a great forum. It's really exactly what we were looking for. And then I guess the second piece of it, and that's the part Ashley will work on, I'm sure, is just the content that goes online with it to explain to people if, for example, they were having a large event that I guess just the rest of the pieces around, because you would need liability insurance if they were going to have, say, a wedding out there and that kind of thing. So just if we can just see a draft of what the content is going to be that goes with the form at the time that you have it prepared to go. But I love what we've done here. And then obviously just if you can give us like a process document on how this is going to work, right? So that we can adopt a proper process and procedure for it. So on the internal side, just so that we understand that, bylaw has been advised when there is an event going on at the beach and that kind of thing. And the commission is advised, because that's where we run into trouble, where we get all the phone calls saying what the heck's going on out there. Or in the most recent case, it was bylaw who didn't understand what was happening on the beach or who they were supposed to notify. So if we can develop both the form and the procedure around it, and then we can see both of those pieces, that would be the next step, I think.
I think a procedure would something you would definitely want to have, because if they are having a big tent or the parameters, it can also mean that there might be other permitting involved other than just notifying by law or notifying the commission. So I think that makes sense. And maybe just even having a motion to create a procedure would be good. And that's something like Jacob could work on the procedure and I could just work on the actual communication and content for you guys to have.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going for. That's perfect.
Any more discussion? Okay, we don't have to, it's already in motion now. So thank you guys for all your hard work on that.
Well, we just need a motion to creating the procedure document, I think.
You need a motion for that, Jacob?
I think it would be.
Okay, so we put on the floor, Councillor, second by Deputy Mayor. We've already discussed it. All in favor? That's passed. We have a follow-up on the Murray Drain on Gondola Lagoon. I'm not sure who put that on the agenda.
I don't have.
I know I didn't, but I'm just kind of curious. The follow-up.
No, it wasn't me. No.
No. Is there anything to talk about on it, or something happened? Or? Okay. But I guess that might have been the sponges that we were talking about, because is that not what we were talking about, picking up the nutrients coming in?
Sorry, I didn't realize it was actually on there. I missed it when I read the agenda, Cal. It was me who had asked for something, but I'm going to just defer it because my question isn't quite complete yet. So I apologize. That was me and I'm not ready. So I'll just defer it as a follow-up item to a later conversation.
Does anybody have any unfinished or new business? Oh, I got to see a bunch of hands. Okay, we'll start with who have I got there? Commissioner Schusman.
Yeah, I just wonder if Sherry had an update on the reservations about this party that we were planning. She had some pushback apparently or something, so she said she was going to address that on this meeting, whether it was a go or a no-go. I just wonder where it stands right now.
Yeah, so that
talk to her first, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so that is one of my follow-up items, but I will get to that. But I can do that one first. So what happened is I have received some communication from the community, a resident who indicated to be speaking for other residents, and I'm not 100% clear on how many people, how many residents, or what exactly where this came from. But in this communication, it was that I was making a fiscally irresponsible decision to use the beach for this party, A, and B, there was this concern that there would be some sort of call out to all of Ramara to join. And the concern was that we had we employ beach security, so why would we invite people to our beach? And then the next one was related to township business, which is not relevant to this, but it was that the township did not contribute to the LCCA's 60th anniversary. So I'm not quite sure how things connect, but long story short, I explained to the person that at this point, the steps we had taken had been to partner up with LCCA. I explained that the goal of this was to bring LCPWC out to the community in a more casual and friendly way than to have us sitting behind a table and rows of chairs where people had the opportunity to meet us and just mix and mingle and ask some questions. I explained that if, typically if a township hosted a luncheon for its volunteers, for example, that would come from, taxpayer coffers, and you would host that lunch. And I didn't see it any differently than that. I explained that we had budgeted only $2,500, which is quite minimal per levy payer. I also explained that there had never been any communication or intent to invite Ramara Township to the beaches, in the sense of opening up the beaches to the just the general public. And I qualified that the discussion we had was around if somebody along Lake, for example, who isn't a levy payer, wanted to join us that afternoon, we would just consider them our guests, right? Because we do have a handful of people within the Lagoon City settlement who actually aren't levy payers, just based on the fact they're not adjacent to the canals. So I tried to sort of explain what the goal was, and that, that would give the opportunity for LCCA to work together with the commission. And the notion was, just a better, a more casual way for LCPWC to get to know its community. The person pointed out everybody knows us, but again, they don't necessarily. We have new residents moving in and out all the time. So I did kind of go through all of that. But I know that subsequent to the conversations, that kind of pushback is still floating around in the community. And I would argue that we are quite fiscally responsible. And we've just, as you heard today, had a number of discussions around keeping those vouchers and budgets to actuals out there so the community can see it. So I'm not comfortable with the statement that it's not a financially responsible decision to make. So for my part, I don't want to proceed with it. And I know it was my initiative, and I brought it, just like I do everything else, to connect community and move us forward in a positive way. But I don't think that that's going to be the outcome. So I've notified LCCA that I would be bringing this item today based on those conversations. And LCCA has received essentially the same feedback. So my recommendation that I'm making today is that we just put the $2,500 back in the budget and dispense with the notion of doing it this way. And then at some point over the summer, if we choose to do it the old-fashioned way and have everybody come and sit in rows of chairs, we can do it that way, and we can meet the community under those circumstances if that's something the community desires. But from my perspective, I'm not comfortable with being told that it's a fiscally irresponsible choice. And on those, for that reason, I will be now. My motion is going to be that we no longer proceed with the party, and rather the $2,500 goes back in the budget. So that's the motion I'm putting on the floor. But I understand there may be further discussion. So that's what I have to say on the topic.
I guess I have a couple of questions. Was this a group of people? This is one person's opinion? What is this?
This came to me from one individual, but the individual indicated that the feedback was coming from a larger audience. So I don't know how many people it is, but the last thing I want at this point in time is to be questioned on a $2,500 expenditure. And actually at this point it was a $700 expenditure, because that was the only cost we've received back to date is the band that we were hoping to have out there. So it's a small cost, but I'm not trivializing. I can't say that word. I'm not making light of it. right? It's still a cost. And if there's a feeling that that's not a good way to spend $700 or $1,000, then I just don't, myself, I don't want to spend it. But I can't say to you, Cal, how many people, because it just came to me as an individual speaking for some individuals. So I don't know what that means.
I haven't heard it from a single person, but anyways, Commissioner Mason.
As far as I'm concerned, I think as fiscally responsible, and I would continue to support this party, and would not vote in favor of canceling it. My position is, if a couple of people are unhappy with it, let them be unhappy. I think the overall community would benefit from it, and I think as such we should proceed with it. Understand Sherry's concern, but I would not vote for that motion to cancel it.
Sherry, what would happen if we just knocked the dollars off of it and just had it as a get together at the beach?
I mean, I
really what I've just heard from you, that's the biggest complaint that I'm hearing is the dollar amount. When somebody says that they all know us, I'm not sure what they're talking about, because I sure as heck don't know everybody in Lagoon City and all these people have moved. I'm lucky to know a third of the people, and I'm sure you guys don't know a lot. And it is nice for the people to feel comfortable enough to come up to Parks and Waterways and discuss it, where we're not treated like this group that makes all these bad decisions or whatever when you see it in social media, right? So to me, I have no problems meeting people and talking to them. And I know the other group, the other Parks and Waterways people called them and talked to them and asked them questions and things because they were right out there. So to me, I think it's a great thing. Will the people come down? I don't know. You'd have to wait and see, because, you know.
Thank you, Cal. I appreciate you saying that. And then I will share with you that I do have the opposite feedback coming. So another community member said to me that actually the excitement for the band and having this kind of thing on the beach is spreading throughout the entire community. And that's why I said to you, the motion I would put would be but I'm loath to do it, because I agree. And I actually have had some people contact me already who wish to volunteer, or have offered their services to volunteer for the day, because we were talking about setting up volleyball and bringing in LCCA's people. Greg knows this. We're going to bring over other kinds of games, and so that we would be running games day. And it was the intent really was to have all commissioners out there and mingling with the community and getting to know us. So I have had both sets of feedback. And I guess that's why I'm here. I wanted to hear you guys weigh in on it, because I don't like the fiscal conversation. And I can also tell you that as a part of the communications that we started to develop, and we've only had one meeting between us and LCCA to date, but part of that communication that we were developing, the poster that we wanted to create to circulate throughout Lagoon City and our levy payers, was going to put some more, a little bit of parameters around it. So I don't quite know what happened, because we certainly have not put out any communication yet for anyone to object to. So I don't quite know where the two kind of differing sets of feedback came from. But definitely that's why I'm having the conversation today, because I want to hear what the rest of you think, so that we make a unified decision on how we feel we should proceed.
How did the LCCA feel about it?
The LCCA's position was they want to proceed with it as well. And they felt that a joint venture like this would be of benefit to the community. And it is very low cost. Of course, we've only, as I said, budgeted, we know, the $2,500. So we felt like it was, they agreed. It was a really good opportunity to get us all working together in a different way, get to know each other in a different way. So they were very much still in support of moving forward.
Deputy Mayor, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I appreciate the tough spot that Councillor Bell's in. I thought it was a great idea when Councillor Bell brought it up, and I still think it's a great idea, and I don't think we'll ever keep everybody happy. I think we should move forward with it. I think it is going to be a good thing. Get out there and meet some people and have a face-to-face.
Absolutely.
Seems like I see everybody nodding there, like they all agree to that. So
Yeah, so I think as long as, and that's why I brought it. So I think I wouldn't want to go ahead and put that motion on the floor then, because if we are all feeling like we're making a good decision, then I felt like I was making a good decision in the first place, but I never want to hear feedback that says that we are, as a commission, not spending our budget appropriately. So, and I, as I said, I think it was very appropriate. So I just needed to make sure that we all still felt that same way. So I think that's all we need to say for today. And then obviously, as long as we're all okay with continuing to proceed, Greg's been the one kind of point man on it. So Greg can go ahead and book our next meeting with LCP or LCCA, and we can proceed.
And LCCA is okay to proceed with us still.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't see an issue. So then really, I guess I'll move to the next thing. Anybody else or you have something else? I think you said you had something else, Councillor.
I do. Thank you. I do. So I noticed that we don't have the infrastructure update on our agenda today. And I think that so when we decided that we were going to put an infrastructure update on as an agenda item that holds its place for eternity, that was a loose conversation, but probably Jacob would jump in and say it was not an actual motion that was carried. So I'm just thinking maybe today what we should do is actually put a motion on the floor that says the infrastructure update stays on our agenda. And I think it's an important piece, and that's why we brought it, because it does two things. A, obviously it does the update, but B, it allows for the updates that is provided by infrastructure or whoever, the infrastructure department or related. It sticks into our highlights, and those are one of the best tools that we have for keeping the community up to date on what's going on at the commission. They typically don't love reading minutes, and the minutes again are only a record of motions carried, whereas those highlights actually tell the people what kind of updates infrastructure brought to us. So I want to put a motion on the floor that infrastructure update becomes a matter that stays on our agenda, just as the accounts, vouchers, and budgets to actuals did.
Jacob?
Yeah, if that's the direction that the commission wants to go in, that's fine. The only reason it wasn't on the agenda today was that there was just no update.
Yeah, thank you. I understand that, but a lot of times it stays, right? So even if we don't have deputations or presentations. So I'm just saying, I know that we never actually put a proper motion on the floor. So I feel like maybe it's time to put the motion out there and streamline that process as well, so we know it's there. And if there's no update, there's no update. But especially right now, as we come into summer and we're going to have things like the North Footbridge project, the updates are going to be a key piece of what we need to tell people over this year for sure. So I'll just put the motion out there and see if anybody can second it for me.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor seconded it. All in favor? That's passed. I guess really I should have had that motion read first. Sorry. What motion you going to put forward there, Jacob?
Just give me one moment.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I went too quickly there.
That staff had a recurring item of infrastructure update to future agendas.
Is that okay? The first and second there? I see nodding. Okay, and that's good. Thanks, Jacob. Does anybody else have any new or unfinished business? I see. Josh.
No, let William go for it. I'll go at the end.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Mason.
Just a quick update. As of April 27th, Sherry and I have been invited to the opening meeting of Lagoon City Yacht Club, which I have accepted. I think Sherry has accepted as well. So we will both be attending the opening meeting at Lagoon City Yacht Club. They're looking for just a bit of an update on what's happening April 27th to give us a little bit of time after our April 11th meeting that we'll be able to, maybe Sherry and I can sit down and go through a little bit of an update for the yacht club and keep them posted on our upcoming activities for this year.
Okay. Josh?
I just had one question. So in the budget for 2024, we have the beach maintainer. I know we've kind of talked about a lot of different beach maintainers. I wasn't sure if there was a direction from the commission on a style, or I'm just getting the tender ready to go out. So I can put out just a blank beach maintainer and I'll get a million things back, or if there was something specific you guys were looking for and you can direct me in that manner, then I can kind of streamline what we're looking for.
The only input that I could give you is I know about 6-7 years ago, Todd and I went over and looked at one that Barry used. And we actually went to the beach and they showed it to us and they did a great job. The way it filtered all the sand and how simple it was to operate and how simple it was to empty. So if you can reach out to them, that was a good system that they used. And they've been, well, it'll be 7-8 years later now when you talk to them. So.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted like a self-propelled all-in-one, or if it's going on the back of a tractor with a 3-point hitch, or
I don't think
my only thought process with that is we don't have a tractor that'd be used for it, so it'd be a requirement for the beach contractor to have. So
are we looking at purchasing one and then using a contractor to use it, or are we looking at like yourself and your staff to run it?
as far as I know, it was the contractor using it, but if it's different, let me know.
Well, like, could your staff use it? Like, I don't know. You wonder whether or not the town would want to get involved in it for any of their beaches.
We don't really have beaches at this point. There's the little one down in Lovely Day, and then there's the short little section in Lagoon City. Other than that, there's a little bit of sand at the steps, but it's pretty well all concrete there. So currently we don't have many beaches. I think Lovely Day would really be the only one it would be usable at. So
okay, what is it really used for their beaches? Do you know?
I think they have one on the back of a tractor. It's quite a large unit. I think on like a 60 or 100 horse tractor. So
because they've got some large beaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Maybe to give us some information on it, right? We can take a look at it. Maybe, I don't think the tractor will work for us. I think we need something else, right?
It will. You'll just have to buy a tractor too.
Yeah.
So
we don't want to buy it. Okay. So I think we'll pass it now.
Okay.
I don't know. Just give us an idea, right? Because if I remember correctly, for some reason, $35,000 is stuck in my head, right? And
50.
Is it 50 now? It's because that's why we want.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. No, I'll do some research and I guess I'll come back with a report for sharing.
I just did want to say, like, I know we don't have a lot of beaches today yet or whatever, but we do have Lovely Day. And if you did own the equipment, would you not want to go clean Lovely Day with it? Because then I would say, even if it's like a 2/3 to 3/3 split or whatever, like I would still probably want to take it to council to say, do you guys want to participate in this so that, you can clean Lovely Day with it? Otherwise, Parks and Waterways owns it, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just depending on what style unit we look at, it could include another $100,000 for a tractor. So
yeah, no, I get that. Yeah. So, okay. But it's not, I just wanted to say, let's not take it. I didn't want the conversation to go in a direction of, because we don't have a lot of beach today, because we could share with the township to some degree, but I guess, so maybe that's like, you come back with the quotes and then we can always carry a motion at that point that we would bring it over to township and see where they are.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, yeah, I'll come back with something. I'll figure it out. The only other thing I had, we're probably going to look at turning the bubblers on the next week, 2 weeks or so. I believe pretty well all the ice is out in the canals, so we'll get those systems up and running.
Wow, it's the earliest they can ever turn them on.
Yeah.
Commissioner, are you done, Josh? Sir?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, I think we've got one last question. Commissioner Mason had something.
Would a 4x4 pickup truck be strong enough to haul the beach cleaner?
Josh, you muted. We can't hear you.
Yeah, it popped out. Sorry. Just for safety reasons, are you thinking to operate the unit or just move it around?
Either, both.
To move it around, we'd probably need a lift gate on the back, so it'd be on a trailer, most likely. To operate it, it depends if it's self-contained hydraulics and operationally that way. A lot of the units run off PTOs or hydraulics on the machine. So
gotcha. Okay, understood.
Do I have any more new business or old business to talk about? No. Before I agenda it, I'd just like to thank you guys. We did a great job doing this. This is our first full-fledged Zoom meeting. Normally it was just a couple of us. Everybody did great. And I would like to thank Jacob, Amber, Ashley, and Josh for being there, assisting us through all this. And you guys do a great job. Thank you very much. So I guess the adjournments, the recommendations, Lagoon City Parks and Waterways Commission adjourn at 11:04. I guess all in favor? That's passed. Do I have to put a first and second? Just all in favor?
Need a mover and a seconder.
I do I always wonder about that. Okay, the mover's the deputy mayor. He had his hand up first, and then Bill was right behind him. All in favor? That's passed. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a bit.